The end of the day. Thanks for those that have the endurance to stay through. Because we only have two panelists for this session, we're going to condense it a bit and have the wind up here a little earlier, and then we'll get on our way to the evening events. So this is the second annual Beyond Earth Orbit panel for APSCC. And this year, we're going to focus a bit on how companies that already have existing solid business or appear to be on their way with existing solid business cases for what I call the Earth-centric businesses are seemingly putting more and more attention for business and technologies that go beyond Earth. So I'll start with introductions with the panelists. Richard, you want to go first?
Sure, Richard French. I introduced myself in Rocket Lab earlier today, so I won't do that all again, except to say that, yeah, Rocket Lab has always had a deep interest in deep space. Actually, I really like the little headline there, space is hard, deep space is harder. That's definitely the way we view it, and it's part of the reason that we're crazy about deep space. So, you know, when we started space systems at Rocket Lab, planetary missions were front and center, and so we've systematically pursued the technology stack to be able to do affordable planetary science and other high energy missions, and so excited to talk about it here.
And I'm Ryan Wiltshire. I'm the Vice President of Business Development on behalf of Impulse Space. When you think about Impulse Space, please think of in-space mobility, high delta V capability. We've got two different products that we're in the market with. One is kind of a third stage that we put on top currently of Falcon 9, which is called the Helios. Think of it as kind of putting on top of Falcon 9, you get kind of a Falcon heavy performance capability with that single stick. The other one is Mira, which is a satellite about 300 kg. That's more of a tactically responsive space kind of capability. Again, high delta V. Where you can do, tactically responsive missions, LEO, MEO, and GEO. And so, as Richard pointed out, I think it's absolutely correct. Space is hard, deep space is harder. This is someplace we want to go as a business in the future, and the kind of propulsion background and DNA that we have embedded in our company, hopefully will take us there in the long run.
Thank you. So, Richard, I'll start with you. Earlier in this panel, I think you raised your hand for all the different kind of mission scenarios that you're building spacecraft for. Recently, your boss was quoted as saying, if it's possible, it must be done, specifically about taking ourselves, our brains, to beyond Earth. So can you characterize how that philosophy of, if it's possible, it must be done, kind of permeates through Rocket Lab? Is it on the back of everyone's mind to know that what we're doing now is just a stepping stone for something even grander? And again, and with all the different activities you guys are doing, is it, how are you handling is it a distraction versus core business versus, whatever's next? Can you characterize that?
Yeah, sure. So one of Rocket Lab's values is that we do the impossible, and so doing hard things has always been in our DNA. But I have a little bit more of a personal connection. That quote by Pete was really in respect to our Venus mission, and people were a little confused. How he convinced our board to donate effectively a rocket and a satellite to looking for organic life at Venus. But it's actually where my conversation with Pete started. 7 years ago when I met Pete and I asked him if we could build satellites, and he said yes. How he would think about NASA planetary missions, and he was like, "Are you kidding? Like, of course we would have to do that." And so that's really kind of where the love affair with Rocket Lab began, and mine personally. But yeah, that Venus mission, it's not just about doing hard things. I think there is a real business development purpose. If we can demonstrate doing decadal class science with integrated launch and small satellite capability, then then it's absolutely worth doing, because one of the biggest issues in planetary science these days is opportunity, the perception that it's very expensive, and if we can demonstrate those kind of capabilities, then I do think there's a real business purpose. And so we do balance things in that way. I will say the Venus program, as Pete has gone on record, it's a nights and weekends program. And so recently we had a heat shield delivered by NASA Ames. It's got some really advanced thermal protection system on it, but we put it right front and center in the clean room to encourage those nights and weekends.
So it's like a pure volunteer job?
It is a non-revenue generating project.
Okay. Ryan, a bit about how you guys are thinking about your evolution of products. So my understanding that Impulse's strategy is actually lining up quite well with the arrival of Starship. It's something that your team is able to extend the Starship capabilities to other orbits, other missions. And for as you look at Beyond Earth, is it still kind of just the Starship ecosystem that your team is optimizing for? Is there compatibility for a broader set of rockets that you guys are looking at? Just wanted to kind of understand what other ecosystem synergies are you guys looking to leverage for yourselves?
No, good question. I think we're launch agnostic, right? So we, from a mechanical and electrical interface perspective, we can very much integrate with a lot of medium heavy launch vehicles. Really, for us, it's kind of a propellant question. So the ground system infrastructure at the pad, that's kind of what dictates the launch vehicles that we're going to be working with here in the future. The first one is the SpaceX Falcon 9. They already have done this a number of times. In terms of meth locks, propellants, and loading that just prior to launch, which is what Helios goes on. So in the near term, that's what we'll go with, and there's other ones that we're working with as well in terms of near and medium term. To the Starship one, it's one of those things where I think there's only one person who knows where that's going to go, right? And that person's not on this stage, so I'm not going to opine on where that may or may not go. But certainly, our DNA is in propulsion. It is in space mobility, so it's really just taking the launch vehicle options that are in the market, medium and heavy, and just enhancing those to give our customers a broader capability level, a broader kind of mission profile set that they can choose from. And so that's going to, in the near term, that's MEO, LEO, and GEO, where we're seeing a ton of traction there for both our product lines, and then that'll give us the basis to then extend to more interplanetary missions, whether it's lunar, whether it's Mars-based or otherwise. And so that's kind of how we're walking down that path.
Okay. So you've described yourselves now as kind of that in-space mobility go-to company, but you've also recently announced that's not really just a transport. You guys are developing a lunar lander. And I guess my first question is, I'm presuming you guys have done the survey of potential lunar landers that are out there. Can you describe, what was it? Was it such a sizable business market that you decided there's room for yet another lander, or are there differentiating factors or characteristics that you guys believe that you can bring to the ecosystem that you haven't seen from others yet?
No, good question. I think at Impulse we get asked a lot in terms of the kind of differentiating capability that we could potentially bring to certain segments of the market. In this one, there's kind of what I describe as a gap in capability, right? You've got people who can do down mass to the lunar surface and let's call the 500 kg to 1,000 kg kind of capability range, and then you've got maybe the SpaceX that can do way more in terms of order of magnitude, and so you've got this gap. And so we kind of identified that gap in terms of upsizing from what currently can be done. And then, again, propulsion's in our DNA. So, we can do small, what we call our safe thrusters, which is on our Mira vehicle, or Deneb, which is on Helios. But we also have other propulsionary systems that, are right fit for lunar landers and such. So,
Richard, so just from my sense, you mentioned Peter's willingness to put a lot of the company resources to go investigate Mars and discover just what's there for us to explore more. We've seen a lot of news about Rocket Lab's advocacy for funding for Mars projects, the Mars Telecom Orbiter. You guys went and put together a very aggressive package for Mars sample return. So we're seeing a lot of the planets in your mind. I don't hear you guys so much when it comes to the lunar ecosystem. So besides the Capstone project, which I think was the first set of small sats that you guys helped deliver there. So can you characterize, are you guys bypassing the moon and looking beyond that, or is just not yet the strategic find, or something's out there that we just don't know about yet?
Yeah, so as you pointed out, Capstone, we like to call that the first launch of the Artemis program, and that was successful. We did that, and we're proud to be a partner with the lunar lander companies, the CLIPS landers. We were public about providing flight software to the Blue Ghost lunar lander with Firefly, and so we're in the lunar program in many ways. I think our components business is well exposed, and so we're participating, although we're not really taking any market risk there at the moment, and so I'm pretty comfortable with that. And as you point out, we are aggressively pursuing other areas where we think there are opportunities. When the alternative rapid architecture studies for MSR came out, that was something we embraced. Out of that, the Mars Telecommunication Orbiter opportunity has evolved, and we're pretty excited to support humans to Mars and find our niche in the program. I think it's important to kind of look at industrial capacity and the objectives that we have both in science and exploration, and find a place where you can contribute meaningfully. And I think that we're doing that with some of those program opportunities. But it's really tough to get in, right? Particularly in the civil space program. I mean, will there be another opportunity for someone else to build a lander? I don't know. What does the next element of the program look like? Fission surface power is out as a coming draft RFP. Maybe there's something there, but those are really complicated programs, and so we'll kind of address them on a case-by-case basis. But in the meantime, we have 2 spacecraft ready to fly to Mars, being integrated at the Cape right now, and so we're pretty focused on executing.
Awesome. Ryan, you talked about you're known as the propulsion house, and Delta V is your specialty. As you guys think about Mars, right, and I believe you guys have a contract with the Mars Exploration Program, are there key breakthroughs that you guys are looking to develop that enable something, or is it just simply scaling existing technologies you have or are working on to larger sizes just to enable, going out to planets?
Yeah, I think it's a kind of a little bit of both, right? It's enhancements on some of the key development technologies and capabilities that we're already on the way of trying to solve. I think, it's taking the DNA of our company, as you mentioned, propulsion, and looking to where those strengths can be applicable, and then understanding the other capabilities that need to surround that in order to have a holistic mission, so a technical solution set that can be delivered, right? And so some of that's aspirational, for sure, especially when you think about Mars and a lot of the complexity and a lot of the challenges that come with a mission in that sense. But like as I mentioned before, a lot of it is kind of core aspects that we're working on today, and some of it's going to be aspirational as we move forward here. So.
Okay. And staying with you, you guys have made some recent announcements with satellite operators about taking them to GEO, taking them to MEO. I assume at some point in the future you guys are going to announce more commercial customers taking them beyond all that. If you think 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, any predictions on will your business revenue be what fraction, looking at missions that support Earth? What fraction of your business will be missions that support things beyond Earth?
Yeah, the way I'd think about that is in the near term, so let's say the next 5, maybe even 10 years, it's going to be heavily, let's say near Earth focused, right? The LEO, MEO, GEO missions are, we're seeing a ton of traction for both Mira and Helios. that will be kind of the bedrock in my mind, the cornerstone for our company to grow and thrive, such that it will enable those higher energy orbits or those lunar or Mars aspirations or other interplanetary missions. It'll really help us and give us time to develop the skill set and the capabilities and the technology and demonstrate it and get flight proven heritage so that we can now really go forward on a either commercial or government or civil based to really break into some of those more complex missions, right? So maybe I won't give a percentage, but I think in the near term it's definitely going to be more let's say geo and MEO based.
And Richard, kind of to wrap up here, same thoughts for you. If you look into your crystal ball, how do you see rockets' evolution, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and the fraction of business that's going to be focused on Earth-centric versus beyond Earth?
I think in terms of numbers, it's going to be Earth-centric. I mean, that's where the people are, that's where the money is, and there's just not too many people or money outside of Earth yet. But we're certainly hopeful. We would love to find our place in the exploration program and do our part to take humans to Mars. I would love for national security to get into the broader sphere to help protect our assets in multiple domains and participate in some of those high energy programs. And so what I'd love really is for a healthy science program. We advocate strongly for NASA science and not just the right acquisition strategies to enable commercial companies like Rocket Lab to participate, but also the resources for those managers to actually have programs and create opportunities for scientists. And so yeah, I'll like Ryan won't give a number, but I certainly hope that it's a component of our work.
So unless, are there any questions from the audience? We can type them into Slido. Otherwise, I know we're all tired at the end of the day here. So we have an evening event. Andy will kind of give details to those. But I again appreciate Richard and Ryan for joining me on the panel today and talking about where we're going to go with this industry in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Rizwan, and thank you, panelists.